Hi, I'm Jamie, and I just have this urge to make a video about one of my favorite fantasy characters, Angela the Herbalist. From the Inheritance Cycle and Beyond by Christopher Paolini. And mainly, who else aside from the author's sister she could be inspired by? So first, I do want to mention that I'll be touching on most of his writings, of Paolini's writings, The Inheritance Cycle, The Fork, the Witch, and the Worm, Jode's Letter, and his new book, To Sleep in a Sea of Stars, just briefly, as well as a few interviews and videos that he's posted himself on Instagram and on YouTube. So there could be a few spoilers. I will steer away from giving big plot points away and such, but there could be a couple spoilers for people who haven't read the whole series, maybe. So first I want to just kind of do a big info dump about Angela and the things that we know from the books and from the writings, and then a few little hints that Paolini has said in interviews and stuff. So Angela the Herbalist is always the most knowledgeable person in the room. She always knows more than everyone else, and she never really tells anyone more information than they actually need. She tends to show up for important events and knows things the people of Alagacia shouldn't really know based on their technological advances, things about space and the universe like that. She seems to speak many of the languages of Alagacia, if not all of them, and has been known by many names. She's described as a short, curly-haired woman with flashing eyes and of an unknown age because time doesn't really make any sense with her. She speaks of remembering things that no living being should be able to remember based on when they happened historically. She also is not afraid to use force. She's the kind of girl that will use herbs and poisons like Nightshade, or stand hand-to-hand battle with her diamond sword Tinkledeath and the other soldiers. So she does mind weapons and she does mind force. She seems to categorize or recognize herself as human when they're speaking of the different races and such. She kind of pipes up and says, "and me," when they talk about the humans, and so it seems like she maybe recognizes as a human. Angela is super witty and very knowledgeable while having this overall protective personality to her. It's almost as though she knows her own outcome, and therefore she just has to worry about these few people that she's created a bond with, or trying to help the people in power make the right decision for the overall populace and the greater good for the most amount of people. She is always asking and creating questions, which is literally one of my favorite parts about her. She, instead of that's supposed to be the best way to teach someone, right, is ask a question and have them answer it as opposed to just telling someone. And that's what she's always doing. She's always asking someone questions that lead them in a direction, of their own choice, but not necessarily something they would have done if she had never asked the question. It seems that Angela the Herbalist is under no one's control. In fact, she kind of seems to scare the hell out of most people, even the most frightening characters of the books. She is capable, or seems to be anyways, capable of maybe stopping or possibly slowing time. And she's just like a total mystery altogether, but she never really lies or holds anything back. She just speaks in such riddles and uses her wit to her benefit that no one ever really gets the answers. She is one of the most vital characters, in my opinion, to the whole story, but we know so little about her, and that makes her all the more intriguing. a lot of the things that happen in the books wouldn't come to play if it wasn't for questions that Angela asked, or things that she accidentally on purpose left out for someone to see, that kind of thing. So now, in a recent video I watched of Paolini, I think it was an interview, he mentioned that someone had actually figured out what the Manoa tree had taken from Aragon. However, he did not mention where, when, or who, so there's that. But the information is out there. And he, in the same interview, mentioned that a lot of people have gotten really close to who Angela is, but nobody has really hit it exactly on the head. So a lot of people are close. And that is, of course, aside from her being originally inspired by his sister, because some people have guessed that it's just her. And so that's not it either. So him saying that people have gotten really close but not quite has really rippled an idea that I had about Angela long ago when I first watched Brissinger. I am old, so I watched Brissinger. When I first read it, I read them all as they first came out, because I'm that old. So anyways, when I first read Brissinger, I had this idea about who Angela might be. And, I had already picked up on the Doctor Who references. And Paolini admits to them being Doctor Who references and such. And I've since 2000, I don't know, 3 or 5, I can't remember. Whenever it came back with Christopher Eccleston, I've been a huge Doctor Who fan. So that was, those references are really things that caught out to me. So listen, I do not think that Angela is the Doctor, or even that she is a Time Lord, as has been hypothesized many times. However, I do think that she's someone super close to the Doctor. But there are many references to Time Lord technology. So, that is kind of a solid case too, and Solemn Bum seeing things that were bigger on the inside and stuff. But you never see the blue box anywhere. And I was fully, when I first was thinking that she might be a Time Lord, expecting to have Aragon run across like a blue box and not know what it is. And that never happened. So, there's that. But there are some other really big indications that Angela the Herbalist is not the Doctor. And the main one for me is her use of weapons and force. He's not really a weapons kind of guy. He usually figures out other ways or fixes a weapon for somebody else kind of thing. And Angela the Herbalist, she stands up and fights right there with them. So I think that she is a person who's very close to the Doctor. This person that I'm thinking is known to have many names, and her name alone really freaks out some of the most frightening characters. She has referred to her use of poisons in the show, specifically Nightshade is one of them that is mentioned. And this person is also under no one's rule or command and seems to get away with things that other people wouldn't. Time makes no sense with this character. In fact, I'm pretty sure most of the time it's going backwards, in a way. And in her last incarnation, she is a shorter, curly-haired, with amazingly vibrant eyes. The Doctor even says at one point that she knows everything about everyone, and that's why her hair is so big. And then, again, on some level, I feel like Angela's sword is a little bit of a pun type thing, because this character I'm thinking of are a weapons are a girl's best friend type of woman instead of a diamonds are a girl's best friend, as per the historical Marilyn Monroe quote. And so I feel like Tinkle Death is a little bit of a pun there. And we all know how much Paolini likes puns, right? And then for me, the thing that is the straw that broke the camel's back was in the new book, To Sleep in a Sea of Stars, in Air, Angela's name in the Fractalverse so far is knitting a striped scarf. Now, I understand that the knitting probably has a little bit more to do with Paolini's sister, because I'm pretty sure she likes to knit as well. But this really, really resonated with me because the fourth incarnation of the Doctor, way back in the original Doctor Who, he wears a striped knitted scarf. And when the Pandorica opens in the current new Doctor, the 11th incarnation of the Doctor is reading a book called How to Knit. And I feel like these are very important references to the character I'm thinking of also. And then furthermore, the name from the Urgles for Angela is Moon Eater. The character that I am considering has very strong connections to moons. There is a Dr. Moon in a library that she's connected to very closely, and also this individual earned her doctorate in archaeology from Luna University. Everything in me just says that Angela the Herbalist is River Song, and I could totally be wrong, but I hope not. So yeah, that's my conclusion, is that Angela the Herbalist is River Song. If you like my video, please give it a thumbs up, and I'd love to have conversations and read comments about your hypotheses on Angela the Herbalist also. Or, I mean, like, even if you want to talk about Doctor Who, you guys, I have some art you can check out on Instagram, JamieBug3, and JAIMEBUG3 on Instagram, and I have a lot of Inheritance Cycle fan art and other things as well. And otherwise, thank you for listening to the end, and maybe we'll do this again sometime.